This is journalist Walker Abid from Derbah in Gaza and have recently fled Gaza after the threats by the Israelis and the kill target on my park and the deterioration of my health because I contracted malnutrition. Thank you so much for holding this protest. Thanks to every single one of you. And make sure that every sort of protest means to us very much here in diaspora or everywhere inside Gaza, and it always meant to me while I was in Gaza. So being in Gaza is absolutely traumatizing. It's a very, very agonizing experience to be in Gaza because the circumstances under which people are living are beyond imagination, and words cannot really justify the magnitude of horror people are going through. But for food and water, I remember when I was in Gaza as a journalist, because I was multitasking and was juggling between many things at the same time. I was looking for water and trekking kilometers just for some water, and most of the water that we were drinking was contaminated. And I remember just a week before leaving this trip, I was digging deep in the ground to get some water from the depths of the ground, just because the water accessibility was almost defunct, and for the population, because we all know that Israel has cut off electricity to the desalination of plants inside their Ramallah. That's why there's a crisis in water. And the fact is that there's a crisis in every aspect of life, and every aspect of life inside the BC territory has been annihilated by the Israeli military during or throughout the genocide, which is still unfortunately ongoing. And this is not only about the water, but it's also about the food, because I used to eat bit food in Gaza. I used to eat the most terrible quality of food, because the canned food we are receiving from the humanitarian organizations is absolutely of the worst quality anyone can ever imagine or anyone can think of. And that has made or fueled the suffering of every single one on the strip, and particularly children, because half of the population are children. And on a personal level, for me, because I was a journalist, there were times, particularly during the last 2 weeks before my departure, I wasn't able to stand on my feet. I was literally unable to stand on my feet, but I wanted to do everything in my power because I felt that this was a duty towards my homeland, and that I couldn't even think about any other things except just giving it all and sacrificing for my homeland and sacrificing for my home country, because I need to see my homeland free. And on other multiple occasions, I was absolutely walking for many kilometers just to get, just to find the story. And sometimes because of the frequent communications blackouts and internet blackouts, I was unable to find the stories, and I was risking my life, knowing that every sort of story or the next story would be the last, might be my death. And even though I was under such threats, and because of only the bombardments, but I was also smeared by the Israelis, and there have been multiple threats against me, raised against me, just because I was doing my work and I was exposing the war crimes of the Israeli military, and I was denying, debunking their claims. And I remember very vividly when the Israeli army denied that it shot the UN compound in Ramallah, and I appeared in one of the interviews saying otherwise, and then the Israelis went ranting about it, but then the Israeli military admitted that. So it's very dangerous to go and verify everything in Gaza, because you are under attacks all the time. And I survived numerous multiple Israeli airstrikes and bombs during my time in Gaza, and there was a kill target on my back that I claimed that it was a Hamas sheriff or whatever, although I never held a gun in my life, just to kill me. That's why I was forced to flee, because my mother and the people around me, particularly my mother and my family, they felt that I was a threat, some kind of a threat, some kind of hazard to them, and there was no chance that it could stay. So journalism in Gaza means a temporary death sentence, or a death sentence, because you're putting your life on the line every time you go to file a story, or you go to do a live report or a package or whatever. And you don't have the means to do the story. You have constant communications and internet blackouts. You are working in a makeshift tinted workplace. You are working inside a hospital. Hospitals have become legitimate targets for this in the military over the course of the genocide, and we've seen the deliberate and systematic decimation of Gaza's hospitals over time. And there were times, I remember especially the Laxamatas Hospital in Deir el-Balah, there were times I was in the same place and it was bombed after 5 minutes later, and I could have been killed in one of those strikes. And
ecco fatto. Vabbè, è nato, dai. Grazie.
Grazie a questa testimonianza.